And then she said, do you think it sounds fun? Then don't do it. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Britt, and this is Anissa. And we're here to tell you how amazing life has been the last 4 days. I'm going to be so fidgety during this recording. I don't know.
Oh my God. I can't. You got to sit up, sit still. We need to get
It's fun. Don't do it. Sit up and sit still.
we need get a picture. I'm totally changing my part to right here so that we have the exact same hairstyle.
I came home and Dustin's like, I like your hair. It's different.
What's that mean?
I don't know, but you can't really tell in this video, but it's actually like silver. I don't know how that happened, but I have like silver in it.
Britt got a new hairstyle. It's been a minute since she had a new hairstyle. It's big news in the Jepsen family. That's where we're going with this. Big news. What's the big news this week? Britt got a hairstyle.
Well, I cut 6 inches off of my hair. I feel like that is somebody asked me how I was doing lately, and I'm like, well,
okay, I have to sit up. I've been analyzing my body posture.
I got Joseph and Molly over here.
Okay, let me tell you a story. No, for all of you that have raised teenage girls or are going to raise teenage girls, they are heartless, they are ruthless, I don't even know. Okay, so I'm in my early 30s, I would say, at this point during this story, and my sweet oldest daughter is in her teenage years. So you were probably 15 or 16, right? Because we're not that far apart. Anyway, I was growing my hair out, which she then told me that old people, and I am younger, I at that point was younger than she is now, should not have hair past my shoulder because that is not acceptable.
Not past my shoulder
So
anymore.
I'm just telling you, she was like, are you going to put it in a bun?
Yes, a messy one. Thank you for asking. It will be on the top of my head.
Oh yeah, but you threw such a fit. You were like, when you're over 30, you shouldn't have long hair.
Well, I just saw a girl in ripped jean bell bottoms, some Birkenstocks, and a black t-shirt at my hair salon, and it wasn't me. So guess what?
Oh my
I'm
God.
back in style, which I also think happened to you in your 30s when I was a teenager, and you're like, I wore it the first time around, I'm not wearing it the second.
We're on the third time with Doc Martens. I would say I picked up a pair of Doc Martens when I was at a shoe store, and they have done some engineering that I probably could wear Doc Martens again because I had what?
Are they heavy still?
Not nearly the heaviness that they were. So you need to look into them. Doc Martens were my favorite shoes in the 90s. Probably.
And the pair
40
I have
pound.
me down from you. So I didn't.
Yeah.
So they were worn in, but they were heavy. So heavy.
They were sandals too, I believe. Or is it the Doc Marten sandals? Good times. Good times.
Well, okay. There's a lot of things that I didn't think you should do in your 30s that I do, like wear spandex shorts and leggings.
I did not wear, to be clear, I did not wear a spandex. I don't think I've ever wore spandex shorts ever. Okay, there's one. What's another one?
With a long tee that looks like you're not wearing shorts. Cash hates it when I, like on the weekend, okay, let's not say it's always, all the time. Winter's or summer is going to start. I'm going to be in spandex shorts with a long t-shirt that looks like I'm not wearing pants. And I'm almost 40. I don't care. Anyway, it drives Cash crazy now. He's like, Mom, put on some pants.
Do you remember your dad having to help you and you have on like little tiny volleyball shorts? Like, whatever.
Things you shouldn't do in your 30s.
Okay, things you should do in your 30 cringe. Is that what all the hip kids are saying?
Cringe.
What's the second word? I don't know. Okay, what's another one that you do?
Use words that are hip.
Such as cringe.
That's cringe.
I think that I don't know if you feel like this as you become a parent, but like those instances where you were like are scared of or unsure of, and then realizing that your kids are the ones that are like, oh, we're not worried because mom is with us. But you're really petrified.
Mom.
Thunderstorm, tornadoes, like
Oh
where I
my
had
god.
to hold it together.
Uh-huh.
That's things. That's not, that's maybe a 30s thing. I don't know what, I don't think there's anything else that I'm trying to think of all the things you guys told me I couldn't do. I
Oh
couldn't
my
listen to loud music.
god. No. Or dance. You never really
Oh,
danced, but I feel like, or sing,
well, that's because you guys told me I couldn't. I never danced. My God.
which is funny because we have dance party. Like my boys love dance parties. They'll be like, "Mom, we haven't danced in the kitchen for a while." I'm like, "Okay." And then this morning, I woke them up normally by just saying, "Hey, boys, it's time to wake up. You know, it's 7 o'clock, whatever." And he was like, "When are we gonna have a morning party again?" I'm like, "What's a morning
There's
party?"
no.
And he's like, "When you come in all singing and stuff to wake me up.
Mm,
That's how I like to be woke up."
no,
My boys party every morning.
mark it in my little book. I don't like to be woke up that way. I couldn't singing. Oh, this one was the one that drove your brother and still drives your brother absolutely insane. Is me singing songs but not knowing all the words and then making up the words. I can't help it that I'm not Rain Man and can't hear something one time and know the melody, the harmony, all the words, the background singers, the history of the song, and why the song was written. I'm just singing it because I like it.
And what
You guys,
what feud happened to create the song that happens. Uh, so I did a really quick Google search of things you shouldn't do in your 30s, and one of them is living with your parents.
I agree with that. That is a
I have
true
lived with my
statement.
parents twice in my 30s. Thank you very much. I believe the day I turned 30, I was currently living with my parents, and
We
probably
moved, I mean, your sister would be living with us now if she could.
the second time I was not, and I was mean. Just mean. I don't
You're
know.
always mean. I love it that I bought a smaller house and you still moved in with all of
Yeah,
your
both
kids.
times I lived with you, you had the two smaller. You at least had more than one bathroom. That I will say. There was more
Amen.
than one bathroom. However, the two times I didn't live with you, you guys lived in houses where I could have lived downstairs, and y'all wouldn't have even known I was there. The setup you have now is perfect because I stayed downstairs in the office bedroom, and my boys like to play up in the loft, so I had no responsibility with
And
the children while I was there.
I don't know if any of you have lived in a log cabin, but it is meant for people that want absolutely no privacy whatsoever because there is only one area in our house that there is any kind of privacy, and it is the office downstairs and that bathroom, laundry room when you shut the door. Everything else, you might as well all just be in the same room. Like we might as well knock down every wall and just all be in one big.
I really wish you. Do you have cameras up yet?
No.
I wish you had a camera so I could have dad on camera trying to be quiet while we're
I
playing.
know he's out there right now. I can hear him. He's trying to make himself lunch.
So quiet.
So quiet.
He's being so quiet. I can already tell. I can tell. There's gonna be a crash here pretty soon.
Oh, wait till till he only has the use of his left phalange. He'll never be able to do anything quiet again.
It will be
Oh
like
my
when he
God.
thought he was being quiet getting coffee in the morning and that our wall, I shared the wall with the coffee pot. And reasons you shouldn't live with your parents in your 30s.
Exactly. If you're complaining about how your father gets his coffee, it's too
I
much. Too
feel
much.
like I'm gonna put a disclaimer on here. My husband was deployed both those times. I mean, if you live with your parents now, that is cool. Go for it if you can. I mean, if it were up to me, my entire family would be on one big plot of land where we could just all be together at all points in time, and that would be
Yep.
amazing. So,
Yeah.
if you can, it's fine. However, I do like.
Well, I just
You're
want you to
like,
remember,
do you have a husband?
just remember this when we're living with you, because that's the retirement plan, just so you
Oh,
know.
you retire. Okay, it's all right. One
What
pot.
else should
Is
you
that
do?
what we decided? One pot. Um, have too many opinions.
Well, screwed there. Okay.
Live beyond your means.
Oh,
nap for 4 hours a day. Oh my God. If I could have 4 hours a day to nap, I
Oh,
heaven, heaven.
my ideal napping isn't 4 hours anyway. Although I did, okay. So this whole nap thing, like I've been reading, well, I was up all night one night worrying about cortisol, which I understand the irony of that. Anyway, they were taught, I was then, you like spiral down to different things. And it was talking about like bed days. Like you shouldn't have bed days where you just lay in your bed and like do all your work from your bed or something because that is depressing and whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, laying in my bed watching TV and doing everything from my bed is my favorite thing to do. Maybe that's why my cortisol is so high.
You told me I'm not allowed to do that. Hence why I now had to add an extra side to my desk because I
Well,
have.
during the work week, you
Oh,
are not allowed to work from your bed. On the weekends, that's where I would prefer to be. And it's nice because your dad's right upstairs. The floor is, it's like we're together. I mean, I can talk to him in a normal speaking voice and he can hear me because we are in a log cabin together,
oh my
close.
God. That's I don't even know. Okay, one more. The last thing is seeking approval from other people. I like that one.
Well, I
We're
think that could be maybe, why is that just in your 30s? Or is
no,
that like,
that's what AI said. Okay, let's
God,
talk about the AI real quick.
oh, we already
Um,
have talked about it again. Like, is it again? This is gonna be a constant thing?
it might be a segment. Let's hear Dr. Farley, Britt, whatever I am on this podcast, bitch about AI.
I can't wait to see what AI says about you. I'd love to read AI. AI transcriptions are my favorite. They
Oh
make
my
me
God.
happy.
So I will say, I do like our Gusto, our
Gus
payroll platform. It has Gus, who I was introduced to the other day. And
over
I love
coffee.
Gus. I absolutely love Gus. Me and him are BFFs now. So I now have an AI best friend and a plant best friend. I am just,
Do you have like three-dimensional best friends
yeah, she's moving to Spain. I'm replacing her with everything else.
with
Okay.
Gus and a plant?
Gus and a
That's not
plant. And my
that's not.
sister. Gus, plant, and my sister.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So Gus is great. Anyway, there, this is not going to go well. I do not believe that AI
I feel
should be as utilized in a field that is based on clinical decision making as it is.
human. I
Uh,
mean, you're a human making clinical
yeah,
decisions,
across the board. I
right?
think that with AI, we are creating lazy clinicians.
Well, I think AI is creating lazy everything because
I
we both teach, and I'm like, I feel that I feel that my students have original thought, but it gets bogged down with AI. I appreciate more an original thought that's clunky or and when we talk in our field, a hypothesis, a session note, a whatever that's clunky and has original thought that has meaning and depth over an AI washed
where you
thought.
can see where maybe the clinical decision might have changed from what it originally was. Like you can,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
because it it um it changes how you think. Now, AI is super useful. Like we've talked about this with our clinicians that English, the problem is that it's good for those that English is a second language, but also it doesn't, the cadence of speech, in some of the programs. I haven't seen every AI program.
when you're not. In all
What?
caps, sometimes it makes you looks like you're yelling, even though you're not.
I know.
Okay, but I agree with AI is creating lazy people. But going back to AI is we are letting AI create lazy clinicians in the sense. So I had
Mhm.
a question of why do I have, so my biggest, I used to teach a lot of measurement and we'd have to create graphs.
That's
And
oh,
it's a lot of work to like think through and create a graph and make sure you have all the right labels and everything, where now there's so many programs out there that do it for you, which is great because as a business owner, that saves us money and time to
right.
do. But I feel like
I feel.
it is my philosophy that you need to figure out, you need to be able to do it before
Oh
you can.
yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
you have to be able to do it
No.
before you can use it. Plus, what happens when the data programs, especially one that we know goes down a lot, goes down, then they're like, how am I supposed to collect data? And I'm like, do you know this thing called a pencil and a paper?
Well, and it was interesting because I was teaching, and which I'm teaching assessments, which is super funny in general that that's the class I'm teaching. But it was interesting because we're doing preference and reinforcer assessments were this unit. And I asked how they were collecting data for their preference assessments, and most that were in clinic are doing it on paper and pen.
Mm-hmm.
And which a preference assessment is way easier to do on paper and pen anyway.
And a
So
lot of
I don't know if
it, yeah,
what?
a lot of programs don't have that like data
Yeah.
recording.
But then I was like, so how are you then putting the data in? Like, how are you recording that? What does it look like? But I think that people use the data platforms in a very specific way, but there's still things that you have to know how to do.
Yeah,
And that's with any field. It's not just our field. You can't rely on computer, AI, whatever to do your job. You still have to have the knowledge of how to do your job, which I guess is why I'm teaching assessments because I do know academically how to do them. I have academically and clinician wise have not meshed, which I think we talk about that all the time. Like it's a very different
well, yeah, and I
approach.
think yeah, that goes with like I know how to do a traditional FA, but I'm not going to do it because that's
Yeah.
not clinical job.
All
But
I can think of is the denying of the we'll have Shannon tag who did we hear speak? I can't think of her name now. Oh my gosh, but she's also on the first season of the autism where they're looking for love. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Cute little
what's her name? Caitlin.
Caitlin. Yeah, where she was telling the story, like she was sharing stories of other adults with autism that um or maybe it was you. I don't know, where they denied the color blue, anything all day. Like,
That wasn't me. That was that. I think that was her.
do you remember that story
Yeah,
where anything that was blue and everybody got to be in blue and wear blue and she had an obsession with blue and they went the whole day and denied her blue, which is not an FA, but it just made me think about that because I was like, the things that we clinically or academically that were done years ago is not the way it should be done now, or that I would ever teach someone to do it.
yeah.
So,
Well, and that's the ones I've been involved in early in my career. We couldn't talk to the
oh
kiddo
yeah,
all
that
day while he was in it.
the attention was it attention
Attention.
seeking? Was
Mhm.
attention seeking the
That's what
function?
they thought. Yeah, that was what it ended up being. But I could have
Yeah,
told them that based on environmental contingencies without
without
listing it.
yeah. No, we I was reading someone's
That was
assignment and they were
quotations.
like,
I can't hear quotations. I
was
forget
it air
sometimes.
quotations? I was reading someone's assignment or their post or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, if it's attention seeking, we're going to put them in a room by themselves or something." And I'm like, "Well, do you?" Then I'm like, "Well, I would like to be in a room with no other thing, but there's things we shouldn't be doing."
No.
And I'm hoping that was hypothetical that they said that they were putting them in the room with no access to attention.
Okay. We'll go
You
with
think it
that.
was hypothetical, right?
Yep, that's what we'll go with. Okay.
So,
So That was kind of weird. Way not following the outline that I tagged you
I
in.
can't see the outline. I don't have my glasses on. I don't have my
Gosh.
computer up.
Okay.
I, it has been a day. Life
That's
altering head
that's what you're
injury.
doing. What's happening? What's a happening? What is going
Life
on?
altering head injury. I
How
had to take the
was this?
hounds.
This was not included in the day you got lost in the Walmart parking lot, though.
No, that was yesterday. Okay, so two things happened to me that made me think that I might be on the borderline of having dementia. So we have a rental car, which we've had two different rental cars for what, a month, and then he just called, and it's going to be at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks after they get the parts for the Jeep that we do not have our car, which is fine. We have another car, we have insurance, we have a rental car, it's fine. But I ran to Walmart because it's a travel day today and I had to get groceries yesterday. And I parked the little Nissan Sentra, which was my very first car I ever owned, but this one's black. And I parked it in Walmart. Walmart was very traumatic because one of my daughters might have called me and said she was hiding in a closet crying. But so I get out of Walmart.
Yeah, I was. I was.
It wasn't might have been, it was you were in the closet crying. Okay, so I get out of Walmart with my cart full of groceries and I can't find my car. I see a black Nissan Sentra. Shut up, Brittany. I pushed it, I couldn't hear it. Well, I was pushing lock instead of unlock over. And I didn't have my spectacles on, so I couldn't see the thing. I walk by it at least 3 times. Normally, it's not that big of a deal, but there was a nice lady
Like
sitting.
unlock because it still makes noise when it unlocks.
I can't hear. I tested my hearing on my TikTok app or on my phone, and it said I have loss of hearing in one of my ears. Anyway, so there's a nice lady sitting in the car next to me after I finally the third time go by the car and realized I looked in the car and I was like, well, the first time I looked in the car, I thought that doesn't look like my stuff, but it was it was in fact my stuff. So the lady in the pickup beside it is like, "Oh, I lose my car all the time." I said, "Well, just to be fair, this is a rental, so I normally can find my own physical, I can find my own car." And she's like, "Well, you're lucky you have a rental. Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah." Anyway, she has the biggest lip full of smokeless tobacco chew in her mouth that I have ever seen. She was lovely. She said that her car got grand theft autoed and she didn't have insurance. And so she didn't have a car. So I should be blessed. And I'm like, you know what? I am blessed. Thank you. Now
Stop
let me
talking.
get in my car that I couldn't find. So I couldn't find my car. And then what happened today? Oh, I have to take the hounds to the kennel. And our kennel, you have to be there right at you get a 15-minute window to drop off the dogs. And they're not supposed to bark. Like it's a very structured kennel.
That's the
And I'm
quietest
not
in
exaggerating.
my life.
What?
That's the quietest kennel I've ever been to in my life. So
Yeah.
quiet.
So I have Hadley who is she has to go to somewhere else because she can't go to a kennel. And then I have Dumb and Dumber, Kiki and Henry. So I open up the back of the expedition, and of course, both idiots jump out on that. And we're like, it's a pretty busy place. So I'm trying to hurry up and shut the back of the hatch before Hadley jumps out because I will never catch her. And I hit the back, like right here, the corner of my head with the corner of the hatch. And I felt like I saw stars for a minute. Like, so I'm pretty sure I have brain damage, just so you
I
know.
think you had it before you hit your head.
And then I get told I can't wear beige because I blend in with the door. And so I'm trying to get home and I've locked myself out of my bedroom again.
Oh my god. Well, I'm sitting here watching you talk, and I have to rethink my inspo picture for my hair because or you need to change your hair.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't. Oh, that's what I'm going to do. I need to
Those
like
who
part
can't
my.
see, it's the exact same color that her hair is right now. I need
There,
her to
look.
do that.
See, I got to work on my part. If I can do a middle part like you, I feel like it'll be. Do you think I'm ready for a middle part?
Do you have a
Maybe.
widow's peak?
I know. I always thought you had your dad's hairline, but I think you might have mine.
If you have a widow's peak, you're supposed to do a middle part.
I do have a widow's peak. It's right here.
I'm just telling you.
Okay, yeah, I just changed to a middle part. It's like I did not put eyeliner on
Oh
today
my God,
either,
you
and I
changed to a middle part and started saying like? What the hell?
like is a bad word. I catch myself saying it all the time. I'm trying really hard to cut that out. But I gave up Sprite for Lent and I'm not giving up the word like.
Okay, well, let me tell you how my give
How
up
was your week?
going. Well, I ordered off Amazon, and
Ooh.
you let me know that that's what I gave up for Lent. But listen, listen here. I
Oh.
prepared this for you. Okay, here we go. So what if I order off Amazon? Ordering things from Amazon saves me time from having to go to the store physically when I could be doing something during the day for work. And then I would not have to work at night when I could be spending time with my kids. So, those who judge me for ordering Amazon, I am literally making more time for my children by ordering off Amazon.
Did you write that yourself or did AI?
I I may have voice talked that though.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so your dad gave up chocolate for Lent, and you would think, I didn't realize how much, I mean, I should realize how much chocolate is like his
Okay, I
main.
also have something for you. Okay,
Oh
I
God.
get this whole Lent thing. And I do
Well,
appreciate like the whole thing like for Lent
we're
was
not Catholic, so
we're
I
not, so
mean,
we don't
it's
really have to give something up. And we have actually been, we don't do it every night now, but we've been reading out of the book of John, and the boys prayed by themselves, like for the first time. So we've been doing that because I felt like they need a little God in their lives. But I do not, I think that you should tell dad to eat some chocolate because he's not drinking.
well, I don't know if he
When
gave
we
that
give
up
up,
for Lent.
when people give up things like alcohol, I don't think they should ever have to give up another thing in their
I
life.
gave up Sprite and Nerd Clusters.
I'm just saying.
That's what I do love a good nerd cluster. Also, do you want to talk about your Bible study with your children when your in-laws were there?
Which time?
The one time you were screaming at
Oh my God, I
during
was
Bibles.
so mad. I'm like, because Cash, who spent what 3 years at 4 years at Cole Valley Christian School, he knows how to act when the Bible is out. He knows how to
Oh
act
my
when the
God.
Bible is out. But
So let's go into what we started with. If it sounds fun,
don't do it.
don't do it.
If it
So
sounds fun, don't do it.
during Bible study is a non-fun time? Is that what
It
you're
is
telling
a
me?
non-roll around like an armadillo time. There is no rolling like armadillos. There is no being mean to your brother. There is no asking questions that you know the answer to that I might not know the answer to, so you're going to ask them anyway.
Oh my God. Your son does that a lot. Like he knows, he loves to ask a question that you don't know, and he knows you don't know, but he likes to ask it anyway. I'll be like, you asked it 5 minutes ago. I still don't know the answer. But you
Or
know
no,
the answer, so why don't you tell me?
so we did work on how he should do that. Instead of saying, "Do you know X, Y, and Z?" say, "Hey, do you want to know X, Y, and Z?" He's like, "But
But
I
what
want
if I
to know
don't want to
about it
know?
first." I'm testing them, and I'm like, "You can't just test everybody. It's not
Oh
how
my
it
God.
works."
That's from his father.
It's
I feel like
horrible.
Dustin's a tester.
So
So,
we named this episode "If It's Fun, Don't Do It." But let me first. This is why we're gonna get an explicit mark on this one. Um, these are your our other choices, which I feel like would have been much better. So the one is "If Not Now, When," which is okay. But here's your other two. And then she said, "When you need a break from your dong." I don't feel like dong's an explicit word. Like
it is
dong,
not.
like isn't that a
No,
noise or a thing that you hit?
not in
Gong,
this
gong.
instance. Not,
That's a gong.
not,
No.
it was not in this instance. No, I'll explain that.
Okay, and then the other one was, and then she said, "I think you sound good in your bedroom."
Again, because we're in a log cabin.
Oh,
So
it needs
I've been
pushing.
watching The Righteous Gemstones, which season four was the first episode of season four was a flashback with Bradley Cooper in it, where he was in what, no, not World War, when he was in the Civil War, which was a huge letdown. But I was watching TikTok where they're interviewing the writer, and he also stars in it, and he's like, there's a lot of dongs in this episode. You guys will not be disappointed. There's dongs of all shapes and sizes, ages. Every dong is represented in
So
Righteous Gemstones.
I wonder if it's because people complain that like there's always breasts and other
There
parts
is
of women
there
anatomy
has
all
been
the time,
one,
and
two maybe. I've seen
there's
I've
never
seen boobs
male
twice.
genitals ever.
There is in this one. I told your father, I'm like, I can't. Why you have to tell me when it's over? I can't watch right now. Like it's just too much. There is just too much. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to change to the White Lotus because everyone has said the White Lotus is supposed to be really good. Freaking like 10 minutes in, full. I mean, he was checking to see if he had testicular cancer or something. I don't know. I had turned off because I was like, I can't. And women and men are made differently, like visual versus non-visual. Like I think there's different. I don't even know, but that's what the dong reference was. It was more of a like, hey, just but what you know. And I don't. Oh, the bedroom one was Shannon
You
telling me I
asked
sound
me,
fine.
yeah,
Oh,
and
was
you
that
asked
you?
me, yeah, we were trying to figure out where to set up to podcast because there's nowhere to podcast in your house except in the middle of
Oh.
nowhere. And I told you you sounded good in your bedroom.
Yeah, and but why I should be surprised that you're listening outside my bedroom door is not shocking at all, since you listen outside everywhere I am. We have no boundaries.
No, I didn't know they were supposed to. I remember I opt out, opt out.
What did you opt out? I can't remember. Oh, the codependency. Yeah, when I found out you were sitting outside my bedroom door listening to me
That's
teach, I
because
was
I
like,
wanted to hear you teach, and you never would have completed teaching if you would have known I was listening to you teach. Because whenever you're on a meeting that you know your stuff and you see me, you just forget to talk, which is why, unfortunately, I can't go watch you and Alicia.
oh.
It makes me sad. Okay, I just
Um,
do it. But we were also talking today where the reference of if it's fun, don't do it. If you do you think it's
mm,
fun, then don't do it. Came from chaperoning field trips.
oh my God. The worst part of my job ever in 4-H was chaperoning high schoolers. And we used to have to go to Iowa State and chaperone for the weekend. Um, it was, I don't, my kids loved going. They did get kicked out of a dance for inappropriate
Nuh-uh.
dancing. No.
No, they did not have to. And the a responsible child with the responsible friend who is now a pastor responsibly walked home the daughter who got kicked out of the
The
dance.
fact that they just kicked her out and
I
it's
agree.
on campus. Like they should have never just kicked her out. But what was she? Anyway, I would have never, as a chaperone, kicked someone out for inappropriate dancing, for
And
God's
just send
sakes.
them back to the dorm. Like that's all they said is go back to your dorm.
Oh yeah, and then let them do what she was practicing with her inappropriate dancing in the dorm with no supervision. Oh my God. But we would have to take groups of teenagers down to spend the weekend at Iowa State. And I'll never forget where I was driving a group of girls. I didn't know they were from another county. And so I'm like, "Oh, where are you from?" or whatever, and talking, and they're like, "Can you just turn up the radio?" So that group was on my, oh my God, they were
They from O'Brien
horrible.
County. I'm O'Brien
Hmm.
County up. There's I didn't even need to know.
Oh my
I
God. But the kids from my county they were fine, but I used to always tell them, they would be like, "Oh, we're going to do this." And I'd be like, "Does it sound fun?" Yeah, that sounds really, I'm like, "Don't do it."
So I always chose a track. So she never chaperoned me down there. But I
No,
always
because
chose the track that wasn't like one year we were on the river all the whole time. One year we were out in the field. Like I never chose, and one year we were with horses. So I didn't ever
yeah.
choose like the big group track. So we did get
But
to do things that were fun that we maybe didn't.
well, and we were talking to Canyon, who chaperoned her daughter's field trip.
Mhm.
And Canyon and I feel like Canyon's way, way more fun than I ever was.
Canyon, we
But
just found
Canyon,
out. Sagittarius, which is also what I am. And so we are
Yeah.
now, I got it.
Hmm. But she was like, I told them they could do whatever they want. They can't be disrespectful. There were like three things. And I'm like, that was always my thing. Like, I don't care what you do, but you can't be disrespectful. You can't damage property. You can't do all of that. Like that part. You just, but also don't do stupid shit.
I also don't think it should be. So the last time I just shot, and I'm about to chaperone again, but it
Ugh.
was my group. I had my kiddo. I had one kid without a parent, and then the three other boys also had their dads with them. So I was not only chaperoning the children, I was chaperoning to keep the dads in line too, I swear. But the group next to us had a set 10-minute timer at each event, and then they had to line up in
Oh,
order to
oh.
to the next event. And mine was like, don't leave the area without each other. And we still lost a kid, but we found him. He went down the tunnel
But
the other way, and it just, but
see, okay. Mm.
but his dad,
Sh-
okay, let me say, we lost him and his dad together.
oh, okay. That's
It was
better.
not just one. Yes, his dad was with him.
Chaperoning to me is so stressful because you're responsible for someone else's kid. So that's the other thing. Like and I'm like this. I'm like this with my grandchildren too. I'm like this with everything. Like I'm like, oh my God, if we do this, that you could die. If you do this, you could die. If you could do this, you could die. Which is stressful for me when I'm taking care of my grandchildren, but someone else's kid, I'm like, oh my God, what if?
I feel like I've taken that into, yes, we could die, but I would rather them be with me. Like I don't trust that any other parent could keep my kid from dying. Even
Yeah,
though they
see,
could, luckily, I mean, they could still happen, like if they're on Mount Rushmore on a rock and their grandma's like, if they stand there, they will die. And then one slips and grabs the other one, and I grab them both, and then they did almost have that
they
same,
almost die. Hmm.
and it was not good. But I don't know. I'm weird of like, I like chaperoning just because I
But
like to know.
it's too much pressure. I feel the weight of I take it very seriously, which then equates into no you
No fun.
don't get that. Which is
No.
how I parented. Honestly, the whole entire time I was so worried about, and that's why I told Canyon, I'm like, you can worry and worry and worry, which if I did it differently, I probably would be more free range because bad things happened anyway. Like I tried to protect you guys from everything
Yeah.
and
You
bad
were
things
the
happened.
mixture of like protect us from everything and set the rules, but also we did have that free range because I mean, I apparently there's kids that go to school with the boys in the neighborhood and they want to like play in the neighborhood together, and I'm like, no, you guys can come in our yard. But we were
Yeah,
always out in the town. Like I would actually just told Dustin about the time Josh and I hid in the cement cauldron. What are those things called? Under the road because
culvert.
culvert because we were late and you were looking for us. Do you
Do you
remember
remember the
that?
time? Do you remember the time you were supposed to be babysitting your brother and sister?
Oh my god! And I thought that they were gone when I came back to
What did I
chaperone.
do?
I was
I
literally
can't.
across the street in the field, in the baseball field.
I was in the field. I
I
was
was in
laying
the
in the
field.
field. So I come home. Britt's in seventh. Were you in seventh grade, eighth grade?
And we were
And so
playing
she had to
baseball
watch.
over the fair.
Yeah,
The
and so she had to watch her brother and sister when till I got home from work. And I came home from work, and there's Taylor and Kyler sitting and watching TV or something. They weren't doing anything bad, so I took them from my house and I drove down to my mother-in-law's with them. And I didn't tell Britt because she was supposed to be home. Like that was the only thing. Or if she left, she was supposed to take them with. So
they
we're
wouldn't come
driving.
with.
What?
They wouldn't come with.
Well, then you should have stayed home. Yeah. So I'm driving back from my mother-in-law's, and Britt, back then it's a small town of 300. She rode her bike everywhere. You know how the Wicked Witch of the West is riding her bike in the Wizard of Oz? Britt is barreling down the street because I came home a little early. So I'm guessing her plan was I'll come home 10 minutes before my mom gets home. I will bribe Taylor and Kyler to say I was there the whole time, and no one's the wiser, and it didn't work. But she is just, I see her and she goes zooming past me on her little bicycle, and then you see her like slam on the brakes and turn around, and then she goes zooming past me again to the house. And I get to the house and she just is bawling.
Oh
She's
my
like,
God.
I can't find them. I don't know where they're at. And I'm like, they're in the car. There, you can put that down in one of your trauma responses.
Oh my God. That was bad. You probably could see us playing ball in the field kitty corner from the house too. We could have just,
But that is a good way for you. See, I just taught you a lesson without yelling at you.
yeah, that doesn't equate well to create a heart attack instead of yell, not yell. I don't feel that that's an equivalent,
Well,
actually.
we were talking about, as you noticed earlier in the podcast, Britt used a lot of I think, I feel statements. She's um, she's becoming into her feelings and stuff. And I'm like, Britt's go-to when she was growing up was always cry. She was either bossing somebody around or crying. Like, so now when she cries, I'm like, it doesn't bother me as much because I'm like, oh, well, now that's good.
Well, okay, so I don't know if I know, I feel like I mentioned it
It's
maybe
not
a
an unhealthy
couple.
cry you're doing either.
No, so I have been October last year. I was officially off all of my like anxiety, depression, bipolar, whatever you want to call it, meds. And I feel like I've been doing really well, but I feel like I have never felt different since I was a child. And the feeling part of it, first off, if you've met my husband, so okay, yesterday, so after our one phone call, I can't remember which one, I went down and I just sat on the edge of the chair and I'm like, I just need a hug. Like, and so he puts
To
his arm
Dustin?
up and he pats me. Yes, he does. I love that
I
guy.
can't
But
even imagine.
Cash is like, what are you doing? Are you sitting on him? Why is his arm around you? I'm like,
Oh my God, maybe you should hug more often.
that's giving me a hug. And I'm sitting on the arm of the couch, but I could sit on his lap. We are married. Like, that's okay. So,
Is it?
but I'm like, I feel hard and it's weird and I'm working through it. But I used
I
an
think
I
you're,
feel with Dustin yesterday or 2 days ago, and he didn't tell me I was crazy, so I feel like that was okay. But he
I
did say
mean,
absolutely
I
not.
was, so I was thinking about that whole physical touch is not my love language. It never
Not
has
really
been.
mine either, but I don't have
Mhm.
anything like it. So I'm struggling to find like that weightlifting, like that the medicine gives you,
Oh,
that, like weightlifting.
well,
And
it's not weightlifting, it is numbing. I think you're confusing weightlifting and numbing.
am I? Am I?
Yeah,
Like I'm
it
missing
numbs, the numbing,
the
but
numbing
you
thing,
shouldn't numb.
but I
You
do
shouldn't
feel like
numb.
I relaxed more, even though it wasn't like
Well, physical touch is okay. Okay. It's it's okay.
which
It
is
is
weird because
not.
Hugh loves like that's how you get Hugh to calm down too. Is you like his love language is physical touch.
He
Like
does like to be held like a baby.
he likes to be held, and he is
Yeah,
very
my
much
mm-mm.
empath. Like he feels, and if
What
somebody
is
else is
your
feeling, he feels.
what is your love language? Have you ever taken that test? You and Dustin should take it and
A
see what your
long
love
time ago,
languages
I
are.
did acts of service was what it was for
That's
me.
mine. Acts of service and gifts are mine. Your dad's are quality time and physical touch. It's not a good
Justin's is
mix.
quality time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like sitting right beside each other doing something. It's the like in the same vicinity, like
Yes,
watching
we're I'm
together, or like he likes to, yeah, his quality
yeah.
time. But
No, you're
mine is
ugh.
acts of service. I feel like
I
mine is going more towards quality time because we do
mm,
more, but
mm,
like
I don't know. Your dad and I spent a full day together, and I can't remember the text I sent you, but it.
like I came downstairs this morning and he did not put away the ranch dip.
Oh.
So like if you would have just put away the ranch dip. But then I like came upstairs and he had done something else and I was like, okay, that evens it out, I guess. But I'm very much
Well, I I like alone time, so I don't feel the need. Like I entertain myself enough that I
I
No.
just read about like how hard it is to like be an introvert and an extrovert at the same time. But
It's exhausting.
yeah, how do you recharge and everything? Okay, I'm gonna go to our my favorite animal segment since we feel like we've already talked to her already. But this is my favorite animal this week. It is Canyon learning her new job. So I know that's more of a business thing,
Oh
but
my God,
I also feel like
yeah.
we cross lines a lot on that. But
I think,
I
okay,
so finding out
why?
she's a Sagittarius, I think helped
Mhm.
a lot.
How do
But
you not know her birthday's a day apart from yours?
I
Do you
do,
know
but
your employees?
it did not register, okay?
Okay,
In my
okay,
brain, it did not register.
okay.
Anyway, I love her questions. And I love that she's like asking them and she doesn't mean to say, I feel like she wants to be like, oh my God, I thought you guys did nothing all day.
That isn't 100% what she
I
thinks.
do. I feel like that's what she wants to say. And then now she's like, oh my God, do you guys get a break? Like it went from, I don't know if she knew how much work is in the
Well,
background. She's like, if one more person messages me, all the messages that you guys get every single day to do, and I'm like, yeah, we work.
I think that is the thing that we work really hard in. We try because of how our business model is set up. I am handling a lot of the direct issues with the companies, or
Mm-hmm.
you are, or Kelly, or Alicia, or whatever. But, and so it doesn't filter down. And
Yeah.
so I think that the customer service and the things that we do that you don't see, which I'm glad. Like there was a lot of things she said where she was like, I didn't know that happened, or I didn't know that occurred, or I didn't know you all did that, which I think is good. But I
Mm-hmm.
also am like the shock in her face
Is yeah.
that
And then she's like, "Do you work this many hours every week?"
well, our calendars are blank.
No, they
To
are.
be
That I
fair,
think what is like most deceiving is that it does not look like because we'll jump
yeah.
on phone calls or we'll jump on meetings
Hmm.
that are through our chats and not on our
Yeah.
calendars. But I also don't think I don't think that they should have to see that we are working that much behind the scenes. I don't know. I kind of feel like I kind of like that there is that separation, but I love yeah, when she's trying to give us
Be
comments.
surprised that you guys work. Oh God, he's upstairs. It sounds like he's coming through the ceiling. I told him he couldn't pack the car. So today's a travel day. It's a travel day. It's a travel
Oh,
day.
perfect.
And
So
I
nothing.
told him he can't pack the car. Now, now he's just
Stopping
stomping to
the
be an
service.
asshole. I have my headphones in though, so you can't hear him. But it's a travel day, and I told him you can't pack the car and can't do all this stuff till I get done recording because I hate when he like throws everything in the car and then I have to pull it all out and then I have to repack
You
it.
don't have me there, living there to repack everything like a jigsaw
Yeah,
puzzle. You miss
I
me a
know.
little bit,
I do. I do. Okay, so can what else is I don't have my show notes up
don't you? I was
because I can't
gonna go.
see
I
because of
feel
my
like we already
spectacles.
touched on how I'm turning into my mother. Obviously,
Oh my God, I know that whole I'm
hair,
gonna
the
have to
fake
pull.
hair. Yeah, no, I
Are
gotta.
you in beige?
I am not in beige. I that is
But
one thing
you
I
blend
did
in with
add
your
green.
chair.
I did add green to my wardrobe. I'm gonna start wearing that. Sarah said it made my eyes pop.
I
Um,
love that Shannon's like, you can't wear the same sweater. You've had it on 2 weeks in a row. It's my work sweater. It's the perfect weight. I can take it off.
that's
So when I'm
what
having a hot flash,
I think.
what?
Can they afford other clothes?
No. I mean, it is, that sweater was a cheap sweater. I mean, this is a double D sweater, which is maybe a little more high end than the other sweater. But I
Beige.
always have my K
All right.
Now shirt on.
Okay, our pits and our peaks.
Um, my peak is that we're going to Wyoming for a couple days, which I love Cody. It's one of my favorite places. My pit is that I have to be in a car with your father. I'm putting in my headphones. Do you know what it's like to travel with him?
Uh, No, not at all. Never.
Oh my God. And now he's listening to me out there. I know he is. And he's going to talk about how mean I am to him on this podcast, which I think we should have him as a guest.
He won't say anything. I'm good for that too, but he won't say anything.
Okay, let's have him. We're going to have him as a guest so that because I feel like every podcast, it might sound like I'm complaining about him, and I am blessed.
Oh my gosh, we
Blessed.
need to pull off all the stuff that we've said about him and then let him hit the discussion. We
He
should do
can't
that.
even argue.
We should do that for
He,
Taylor and Kyler too. We need to have a
oh
family
my God. Family
family
rebuttal.
rebuttal.
Okay, what's your pit and peak?
My peak is that I am excited. Huey is having a St. Patty's party for his friends. So we are going to be, he gets to decorate. I'm cooking.
Oh my God, it's going to be his dream.
I know, he's so
Jazz
excited.
hands.
My pit is that
It was a
this
long
week
week.
it's been long. I don't feel like I've spent as much time after school with the boys that I usually like to. So that's probably been my pit. Is I feel like a lot has
It's,
been sucked up, and I usually try
yeah.
to spend more time with them. And I can tell Huey, especially, is not happy.
I think that it's a cycle. Next week will be better, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
and my weekends I've been doing really good. Like my weekends are for the boys, and I know that that's
We've been doing really good with that.
yeah, and I
Or
know
when we
that may not
call,
be 100% fair, but and
yeah.
yeah, when we call, we talk about the family and not work on the weekends.
I mean, I work every Saturday
I
that no
know.
one knows, but you know what, Britt? I'm here to serve you. As your
Um,
mother, I am forever giving all the time.
okay, if you would like to know more information on our podcast or would like to listen to us, you can find us on Facebook at and then she said, and then Instagram, and then she said podcast. We now figured out how to hook them together so you may get more content. And then I do believe we also have a YouTube channel that is the and then she said podcast. So thank you. I'm out.